Hey everyone, today we have some words of hope from the prophet Jeremiah. The days are surely coming, says the Lord, when I will fulfill the promise I made to the house of Israel and the house of Judah. In those days and at that time, I will cause a righteous branch to spring up for David, and he shall execute justice and righteousness in the land. In those days, Judah will be saved, and Jerusalem will live in safety. And this is the name by which it will be called, the Lord is our righteousness. So here we hear a promise from God, but a promise always involves waiting. You know, if you already have it, then they're not really needing to promise anything, right? It's something you have to wait for them to give you. And so the question is, how long do you wait before you think that this person has broken their promise? Well, to think about Jeremiah's situation, what was Israel waiting for in their time? Right? He's speaking just as everything is falling apart. Jerusalem is being destroyed and attacked by enemies. And so he's basically promising that God will send an anointed one, or Messiah, from David's family, just at the moment when David's line seems to be ending. And then they have to wait about 500 years for anything to happen. So by any standard, I think if we were in that situation, if we lived at any point during that 500 years, we would probably feel like that promise is dead. It's not really happening. It just looks like the stump of a tree that was cut down years ago. But this is the season when we declare that new life has sprung up from a supposedly dead tree. Jesus is that righteous branch. It's new growth, but it comes from something old. The promise is not forgotten. Now, to see hope in something that looks dead, it takes what some call a prophetic imagination. To imagine that it can get better. To imagine that it doesn't have to be this way. To imagine what God can still do even now. Jeremiah can look at his burning city and declare that God is bringing restoration. So what possibilities can we see? Jeremiah prophesies a time of justice and righteousness with this coming Messiah. So can you imagine that kind of world? A world where those who are most often ignored and oppressed receive justice, receive what's fair? Can you imagine a world where we do right by those who most often are wronged? If you can imagine it, then you can participate in it, and you can make it happen. It's not just imaginary. It's a reality. It's a reality because Christ has come and Christ is here. He's in us, and he's also in the least of these, if we have eyes to see it. And so we can still believe that God has kept this promise, and if we believe it, then we can live it out.